Hello, welcome to Not Another Who podcast. I'm your host, Sam Morrell.
Extra. And I am Christopher Hyde. Yes, this is an extra segment because we're releasing them fortnightly, but we're doing a review and a special little something to sort of pad it out a little bit.
To fill out the gaps between our long fortnightly gaps.
Yeah, you get your fortnightly reviews, and then in between you get a little extra something to tide you over. And this one is a doozy. This was your idea. So
yeah, it was my idea.
So it's fitting that you should explain it.
Well, basically, can I actually say the name without getting copyrighted?
You can say the name.
There's a radio show called Desert Island Disc for those people who live in the US, Australia, and Europe. It's a show where they get somebody famous on, and they list like a favourite song, a favourite book, and all that. And we're gonna do something like that, but Doctor Who related.
Yes, we're just keeping to episode stories, aren't we? For this.
Yeah, we're keeping to the full story.
Yeah. So any episode that is a two-parter does count as one story because it is technically one story in two parts. That is how it goes. So we're going to start our... Shall we go from 5 to 1, or shall we go from 1 to 5?
Should we go to 5 to 1?
Sure. And we'll discuss each one as we go. So shall we do it so you say 1 and then I say 1? Or...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you begin, as it's your... So what is your fifth?
My fifth story is a John Pertwee story, which actually kicked off his era, which is Spearhead in Space.
Oh, very nice. Now, why did you choose that one?
Well, it's a story I always go back to, always just throw on whenever I'm in the mood for some good old Doctor Who. It's creepy. It looks fantastic. It's the only story that is shot on film
Ever.
on in the classic series.
Which episode of the new series was shot on film? I swear it's only classic. I swear it's the only story overall. Because all the new series was on digital.
Is from Matt Smith onwards, it's all shot on like HD digital, isn't it?
It's HD digital, yeah. But the RTD era was digital low format.
Yeah, they used television cameras.
Yeah, the big clunky ones. Pretty much like the quality of like 28 Days Later. That was sort of the camera work that they were, well, a bit higher, but a
bit higher. It was definitely not 480p.
In some lights, some of the first series that we were reviewing felt like 480p at times.
Yeah, I'd give it that.
Especially on my
Yeah.
television screen, like back in the day. um, but yeah, I definitely think it is the only story that's ever been shot on film, and that's why it does look. I mean, I would prefer it if they used IMAX cameras, to be honest. But let's be honest, Nolan's got them in
Yeah.
in in droves. um, yeah. So Spearhead in Space. Anything else you like about that episode?
Well, John Pertwee, he's just fantastic. Um,
Mm.
we get to see the Brigadier as a regular character within this era. The Autons, I just don't think they were ever creepy after this story. Maybe Terror of the Autons, maybe, but Rose,
Yeah.
it didn't cut the mustard. I don't think.
Not in terms of their creepiness, but definitely in terms of like, because they were only used as sort of a just sort of generic, let's just put the Autons in here sort of thing. Technically it was the first classic monster to return to the show, but it didn't have the scare factor of the mannequins. I prefer it when they're more stilted and weird, and that's the beauty of Spearhead, especially including the one that like legs it, like full on runs. Like that one's weird. The shot
And
it's like full on running.
Yeah, I love that scene. The end battle when they're crashing through the windows, they're all running with with the music. Dudley Simpson.
Yes,
we all love a bit of Dudley Simpson.
Who literally just did the music for the episode that we reviewed, Horror.
Yeah, he's just so prolific in classic
He's like the
Doctor
John
Who.
Williams. He's like the John Williams of Doctor Who composers.
Probably Murray Gold is second, I guess. But I don't think anybody.
I'd say he's more the Hans Zimmer of Doctor Who composers. Doesn't quite measure up to the classic era, but he has some great themes.
The final battle scene is just like top notch stuff. It's just like it's just so creepy. Them just coming out of the windows, coming towards you, and everyone's like running.
And it doesn't feel like overly long as an episode either.
No, it's just a 4-part story. It's amazingly paced, and it's written by Robert Holmes, one of my favourite Doctor Who. Well, the favourite Doctor Who writer, I think.
Definitely in the top 5 for me. I mean, I have a soft spot for Douglas Adams only because he went on to do one of the best sci-fi stories of all time, Hitchhikers. But
I thought you were going to say City of Death or Shada.
I mean, outside of Doctor Who, his work outside of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I know. I was joking with you.
I was worried. I got scared. Yeah, I definitely think Robert Holmes is up there. I mean, I could sort of list, I personally like Pip and Jane Baker, and I know they didn't write, the best stories, but there was a lot of heart in them, and I feel like Robert has
Yeah.
that as well, you know. Um, so yeah, that's a great one to start off with. So my number 5 is Wish World: The Reality War.
No, it isn't, is it?
No, it isn't. I was joking.
I was gonna say, I was like, what? What have you done to Chris?
Yeah, I was brainwashed by the Disney brigade. They knocked down my house, knocked down my front door, and forced me into a Clockwork Orange style situation where I
You were
watched it on repeat.
eyes.
Yeah. No, I hate that episode with a passion. No, my number 5 is A Christmas Carol, the Matt Smith Christmas special.
Yeah.
Out of because I'm counting adaptations or adaptations as sort of part, because okay, you could say it's technically a Charles Dickens Christmas Carol, but I like the way that they sort of set it. I like the fact that Amy and Rory aren't central to the story, but they have somewhat of a presence. I like the fact that it's literally Smith on his own and having to win over the favor of this cold heartless man. I find any chance to dive back into the Christmas specials, that's one of the first ones I start off with, because it is just something. There's something warm about it, and I just, the directing, the acting, the everything about it just screams just perfect. And I feel like it's Smith's best performance in a Christmas special, because I feel like each of his specials get worse.
Yeah, he didn't do a special better than this, really.
I feel like Time and the Doctor was good, but it was only good for his performance. Yeah, Day and the Doctor is superb, but Time and the Doctor's kind of handles.
I haven't seen that story for a very long time, so I don't think I've seen it since probably 2013.
Oh wow! So literally a decade. Well, over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch the Christmas specials every year because I don't necessarily like Christmas, but I try and force myself to like it, and the only way I can do that is through the Doctor Who Christmas specials. So I put on the Christmas specials leading up to Christmas to give me the ability, the willpower to get through Christmas. So yeah, that is my number 5. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is The Seeds of Doom.
I genuinely thought you were going to say the Sea Devils then.
Yeah, The Seeds of Doom.
Seeds of Doom. Tell us about that. Why is that your 4th favorite?
again, it's a story that I go back to all the time whenever I want to watch a Doctor Who episode. It's probably one of the few examples that delves into like body horror. Again, it reminds me of The Thing. Have you seen the Seeds of Doom?
It has been over a decade since I've seen Seeds of Doom. I haven't watched it in a very long time. I can remember parts, but I can't remember.
We'll have to dust that story off. It is.
Yeah, I know that the Doctor has a sword in it. He uses a sword, I think. I swear he uses a sword. I'm not quite sure. Again, it could be mixed.
Are you thinking of Androids of Tara or something?
No, it's the one with the Kronos.
The Crinoids.
Crinoids, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, your audio. Sam has just muted himself for all those audio exclusive listeners. Just some technical difficulties. In the meantime, enjoy my rendition of the Doctor Who theme. Oh, you're back.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. I think I knocked a cable, and it muted me for some reason.
I just thought I'd jump in and do my rendition of the Doctor Who theme. Interesting. Okay, so anything else you want to say about Seeds of Dom?
I like how Tom Baker gets a bit fisticuffy in this story as well. He's always crashing through windows and cracking people's necks in this episode, which is like very unlike Tom Baker, I think.
It's almost like he just wanted an excuse to do it.
Yeah, whoever I think it was Lewis Marks who wrote this story. I think so.
Yeah.
It's not Lewis Marks. Is it Lewis Marks?
I'm not sure. You're asking the wrong guy. Sorry, you'll get out the Google in a second.
Yeah, I'm getting out Google. No, it's Robert Banks Stewart. Yeah, Robert Banks Stewart. Sure. I think wanted to add some of these action scenes and where the Doctor gets a bit physical with the villains. Or it could be
fair,
the director, Douglas Camfield. Who knows?
Yeah, it does. I feel like it does make it better when there's a bit more action going on in a story, because sometimes it
Yeah.
does feel like you're watching a play, whereas like for example, Fang Rock feels like it could be a play, but I do like the kind of physical elements
Mm.
as well. Right, my number 4 is Orphan 55.
I don't actually believe you on that one.
Oh. No,
Really?
no, I can't
Orphan
justify it.
55?
If I was stranded on a desert island and all I had was Orphan 55, I would genuinely kill myself.
You drink the salt water.
Yeah. I would find the nearest rock and give it a Scottish kiss. No. My 4th is Amy's Choice. Yeah, okay, it's another series 5 episode, but I really genuinely like that episode. I think it's got an amazing concept. I love playing with abstract surrealist themes of like alternate reality, and I mean it's just so good. And Toby Jones as the villain,
Mm.
like Toby Jones makes an amazing villain, an amazing dark nature to the Doctor. And I thought, like, because this was around the time where I was definitely getting more into the classic era, I thought he was more of like a premonition of the Vale Yard.
Or the
Or like,
boatyard.
the boatyard,
Or the
the
snatch
knackers
yard.
yard, the yeah.
Every
That's
time you
about
mention
ongoing.
him, I'm gonna be making them jokes.
I love it. Keep them coming. Yeah, I just love Amy's Choice, and I love the fact that it's so central to her story. That's what I feel like the classic series does really well on balancing Doctor and companion. The new series does a very good job at centering the companion, and I feel like that's one of the key episodes where you see the center of the situation. Everyone's affected, but it's Amy who's got the ultimate sort of decision at the end of the day. Yeah, and I love it when Rory hits the old woman as well. Really funny. And yeah, I just think it's such a good episode, and I feel like that's where I want Doctor Who to be. I want them to go in that more weird direction.
Yeah.
And the music, it's great. It is fantastic. I mean, I could say all of Series 5, because all of Series 5 I think is pretty on point. Even the James Corden episode, even that I do like. There's some good stuff to like. Come on. It's not the worst. I mean, the worst thing, Orphan 55, it can't be worse than Orphan 55.
I'd rather watch that than Closing Time. I'll give it that.
Okay. Yeah, no, I will give you that. Closing Time is a bag of wank. I will have to beat that. Okay. Moving on swiftly to your number 3. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is the Sea Devils.
Sea Devils. Oh, very
Yes,
interesting.
Devils. You actually guessed one of my stories on the list earlier.
That was unintentional, but you know.
I don't know how you did it, but I was like, oh.
I mean, do you think
Yeah.
Sea Devils is better than Silurians, or are they on par?
I think they're on par, but
Because I feel like they're both companion stories in a way.
yeah.
Anyway, continue with what you love about this episode.
I love everything about this story. It the chaotic music by Malcolm Clark. I'd just listen to it with my earphones. I would for just for fun. Have you seen the Sea Devils?
I have, yes. The music, the iconic twang, is kind of seared in my brain forever. Like I can't get away from hearing that piece of music.
Yeah, the
wow,
kind of stuff.
wow.
Yeah. And it has my favourite incarnation of the Master. More on him later. But
Michelle Gomez, great master.
Roger Delgado.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Michelle Gomez, don't get me wrong, but Roger Delgado is... Nobody can beat Roger Delgado as the Master.
I mean, he's like the Sean Connery of the Masters, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely like the Sean Connery of the Masters. I totally agree with that. I like the scale of this story. It's and it just gives me that UK TV Gold vibe. It's just so nostalgic for me. This story.
I remember when it was shown on I swear it was shown on the BBC a few years ago, and I remember watching it, and I was like, it feels better when you're watching it live on a TV screen than when you're watching it on a DVD, because you kind of feel part of the moment. You can't lose, you can't move because you want to just watch the episode. Katie Manning as well.
Yeah, Katie Manning. The action set pieces in this story. It's just. Can I decide? I'll be here all day listing everything I like about this story.
I love the bit where John uses his sonic screwdriver and their mines blow up.
Yeah. Oh, and the sword fight between the Master and the Doctor.
Yeah, I wish they did stuff like that in the modern era. I really wish, because we miss out on stuff like that. That was like a proper duel.
I think the nearest we had to a sword fight was the Christmas Invasion in but
it didn't have the same effect.
No,
you didn't really care for the Sycorax leader. You care for both Master and Doctor, because they're locked in this existential battle of, it's like Batman and Joker. It's like they're always locked in this battle of good versus evil.
Yeah, definitely. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Timeless Child.
No, it isn't. I can see through your bullshit.
What do you mean?
You're gonna do this for every. What?
No, it's abysmal.
What? What?
Oh, what do you mean? It's a tour de force. One of the best episodes of Doctor Who ever.
The Timeless Child, really?
No,
You're gonna do that? What is your real number 3?
Human Nature, Family of Blood. I've got to have a Tennant on there. And my Tennant episodes change from what mood I'm in. And at the moment, I was thinking about it, and I was like, even though Series 3 isn't my favourite series of Doctor Who, that is just one of the best stories out of that series. It was also, previously a book by Paul Cornell that they adapted. And I love the fact that we get this other side of the Doctor where he's, pretending to be human. I feel like it could have made a feature-length episode. It would have been better as a feature-length, because we could have padded more out to do with why they're hiding. I feel like the reason why they're hiding away from the Family of Blood is because, they are, just story reasons. Whereas I would have preferred a little bit more of a reason as to why they're hiding, maybe a prologue, or I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think Human Nature, Family of Blood is just a two-parter that almost feels reminiscent of a classic era episode. Like obviously it was a Seventh Doctor story, but I think it would have been really good in any of the classic era.
Yeah, it does definitely give me season 26 vibes.
I think it was actually meant to be on the next season of Doctor Who before it was cancelled. I think I heard that somewhere, that it was meant to be one of those stories in, I think, season 27, but they just never got round to doing it. Because there was a proper arc going on with Ace's character where she was meant to be tested thoroughly. This is in the Cartmel Master Plan. If you know anything about the Cartmel Master Plan.
I definitely do.
Yeah. I swear there was like more to do with that, and I think one of those stories was Human Nature. I'm not sure. I think it was. But yeah. Yeah, that is my number 3. And also, like, you've got the likes of Freema Agyeman, you've got Jessica Hines, you've got Harry Lloyd, who, is an impeccable actor, and I think Harry Lloyd. No, I'm getting confused. The kid from Harry Potter, Neville, not Neville.
Neville
Harry's
Chamberlain.
brother, Neville Chamberlain. Not that coward. The kid from Harry Potter, who was Harry's brother, adopted brother, whatever, was Patrick Troughton's grandson. And I got confused because I swear it was Harry Lloyd. Sorry. I rambled for too long. Okay, so what is your number? Is number 2? Yeah, number 2.
Yeah, number 2. Number two. My number two is Pyramids of Mars.
Oh, is that the Tales of the TARDIS cut, or is that the
original cut,
original cut?
not the Tales of the TARDIS cut.
with good old shooty gats. Yeah. So, I mean, it probably goes without saying, but just for the record, anyway, why do you love this story?
It's just a stone cold classic. I don't know any Doctor Who fan who doesn't like this story.
It's an all-rounder.
Yeah, it's an all-rounder. I was going to put Genesis of the Daleks in this spot, but I was like, no. I like Pyramids of Mars.
Yeah.
Just a bit more, you know?
Yeah,
it just has that rewatchability factor.
Yeah.
Genesis of the Daleks does as well, but I had to cram it just choose 5 stories, so
yeah. No, I get that. I get that. I mean, I would have the only reason why I don't rate Genesis is because I feel like it could have been cut somewhere. I feel like it could have been a little bit trimmed. I feel like the pacing of that story, like compared to Pyramids, the pacing is amazing, but Genesis does feel a bit long-winded. Like you have to really kind of stick it out.
On the season 12 Blu-ray box set, there is a omnibus edition where they've just like cut bits out that were a bit plodding and put it all together and took out the cliffhangers and just made it like a 90-minute movie. And the pace is pretty good.
I think that would be one that I would preferably watch. Like compared to I like the episode. I just think like like they did with the war games, there's just a little bit they could cut to make it just a little bit flow better,
Yeah. But I think in the war games they cut too much out.
They did cut too much out, and they did put too many new special effects shots in. So that is the only problem with the war games, is that they did. I feel like there was an editor who hadn't edited anything for a long time, and he was getting his passwords buttered by the cutting. But yeah. I that's why I prefer Pyramids, is because I feel like Pyramids I can literally watch in an afternoon and let the time go by and just enjoy myself. It's a good hour-long story.
Yeah, it is a good hour.
Yeah.
Why, the war games?
No, I mean Pyramids.
Oh yeah.
It's a good hour-long story that really paces itself.
It's about an hour and a half.
Oh, is it 5 parts? 6 parts?
No, it's 4 parts.
Yeah. 25
90 minutes long. Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah. For some reason, my maths is... Alright, I'm mathematically illiterate. Don't at me. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I was like, what?
Sorry. Yeah, well, for some reason, 25 and 25 didn't add up to 50. It added up to half an hour. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm mathematically illiterate. Anyway, so my number 2 is the Twin Dilemma. Okay. um, Colin Baker, Nicola Bryan, just no. Um, my number two for real is City of Death. Just and like I think it's probably my favorite Baker. Although you do say Pyramids of Mars, that does come to mind, and that does feel a bit better. But for some reason, I love City of Death. I love the concept. I love the timey-wiminess. I love the ideas that it portrays Douglas Adams. And you predicted, you said Douglas Adams earlier.
Yeah, I did.
You
Like you predicted Sea Devils.
it's like we knew each other's, what we were thinking. Telepathic. Yeah, and Romana. It is just a great story. It's one that I do go back to with fondness. And also in Paris, 1979. It's great, fantastic, molto bene, as the doctor says. So now we come to our number ones. What is your number one?
Well, my number one is the Demons.
Ooh, the Demons. That is
The
an episode
Demons.
that we will be reviewing soon, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't tell us too much, but go into why it's your favorite.
The atmosphere. The witchcraft science mixture in that story. Yeah, there's that satanic atmosphere in that story. I just love. I'm not going to tell you much about this story because we're going to review it in depth.
Definitely.
One day.
Oh no, it is coming down the line. It's just we've been umming and ahhing about what episode to do as our comeback. You chose horror, because obviously horror is one of your favorites, and I personally wanted to go a little bit darker, to try and get my mind off the traumatic events of. Yeah.
It was going to be Earthshock.
It was, but to be honest,
but that got pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, and also with with Earthshock, it wasn't a story that we were necessarily aching to do. It was just, let's choose a great story.
Yeah,
but I know you want to. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we were like, let's do horror fan rock.
Yeah, get us back into the mood.
That nearly entered my top 5 though.
Oh,
it's
really?
about 6.
Oh, I guess if it was if it was a top 10, I guess you would have put like Earthshock and horror on there.
Yeah, it is in my top 10.
Who knows? We may do something like this again, but with I don't know, Cybermen or Base Under Siege episodes. So we can keep this format going. It's not like we're gonna run out of episodes anytime soon.
No.
Okay, well, my number one is Space Babies. Space Baby is written by RTD. Oh gosh.
What is it really?
You know, this is going to be my ongoing joke for these. I'm just going to write, because I did actually write out a list of 5 joke stories to just sort of to tease you with.
And I'm just going to continually walk off.
Yeah, just get more and more
Call,
like aggressive with your reaction.
or just call bullshit.
Yeah. No, it isn't Space Babies. It's my favourite episode of the classic era, and it is the favourite because it isn't the one that ever changes. It is Resurrection of the Daleks. Just the finest. Like, I know it has its flaws. I know people don't like the fact that the story doesn't necessarily, like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I just love the dark, like, you know how you love horror of Fang Rock because it's dark and everyone dies at the end. Like,
Yeah,
that's how
this is yours.
That's how I feel. Yeah, this is my horror of Fang Rock.
Again, this is in my top 10. Resurrection of the Daleks.
And the thing is, every time, so I have a family that live down in London, and whenever we go to visit them in London, I like to go over to Greenwich Park because you can see the London skyline from the top of the observatory. And I always look at Canary Wharf, and it reminds me not of Army of Ghosts Doomsday. It always reminds me of Resurrection, because literally opposite Canary Wharf is Butler's Wharf, which is where the opening and is where some of the story is set.
Yeah. Well, that is completely different now. Yeah, they've done it all up, gentrified it, and everything.
Yeah. Although I do want to go with maybe you or just someone at some point and recreate the opening scene to Resurrection. I think it'd be hilarious.
I mean, I live right by London, so it's like a 50-minute journey for me.
Well, next time I go down, I'll let you know, and I'll get you a policeman's outfit so you can be one of the policemen, and I'll be one of the people running away, and you can shoot me down. Just in the middle, just where all the tourists. Just be like, no, we're just recreating a scene from one of our favorite stories. This isn't an attack.
We'd probably get arrested.
Oh, we would. Oh, the thing is, I've got guns that look fake. I've got a collection of fake-looking weaponry that I use for my films, so it can be easily done. Space gun, a laser beam. But
they use like them machine pistol things with silencers on them.
I swear they use like Uzis.
Yeah, they were pretty cool, whatever they were.
They were. I did want one when I was a kid. When I was watching that, I was like, I want to be one of those. I want to join the police force so I can be one of them. Just gunning down people in broad daylight. Anyway. Yeah, I just love this story. I just think it's got some great, like, it's also in terms of, because I know this isn't it's a very loose Doctor Who story arc, but it is technically the first part of the Dalek Civil War.
Yeah.
Because it
technically you can put Attack of the Cybermen in there as well.
Really? Is that part of the Dalek Civil War? Oh yeah, because
No, but Litton's in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking that
Yeah.
that could technically be. Yeah. No, I get that. But I like that Dalek Civil War aspect. I like, if you watch Resurrection, Revelation, Remembrance, just like as a trilogy, it actually really works with the idea of a civil war. So yeah, it's just peak. I know it's J&T. I know it's John Nathan Turner. I know he's literally the RTD of his day, but under his reign, he did have some good stories. There,
I've just noticed I picked
all
70s stories.
Yeah, but I to be fair, I went for
2010s.
I went for 3. Yeah, I went for 3 modern era, so I'll let you off. But then again, that is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd choose classic series any day of the week.
Yeah, and that's fair enough. You are cemented in the classic era, and that's not a problem.
Yeah.
It just means that you have the lens of Doctor Who was better when it was at its peak, whereas now it's kind of become a husk of itself.
That's why I like being of that wilderness period of Doctor Who, where
it's like your identity.
Yeah, I'm a wilderness era. It's like a generational thing, but for Doctor Who fans.
Culture War Doctor Who edition. Yeah, whenever
I'm
I
a
think
wilderness kid.
Yeah, whenever I think of like the new era now, because while we've been away, I've been sort of in this very depressive slump, and I'm just going to say this one thing. Have you ever seen the South Park episode? Have you ever seen South Park?
I've seen episodes,
Okay.
but I can't tell you what episode is what, really.
Have you ever seen the episode where George Lucas and Steven Spielberg assault Indiana Jones?
I've seen clips of it.
That's kind of how I feel about RTD and this new era.
That's a bit near the knuckle, I think. I don't know if we're going to get demonetized or sued or whatever for that.
I don't think we'll be demonetized because I didn't say anything too controversial. I kept it quite close to the,
We don't actually earn any money from this.
No, exactly, yeah. But if you want to donate to us, just ask. Or just go to, my website.
Serious question. Should we do a Patreon account?
Well, I've got my website, which is my website, our website, we split the winnings, whatever. Winnings. I do have a website. I know. We do have a website where these episodes are uploaded to, and you can donate for as little as £6 a month. I know it sounds a lot, but it's pretty much the average price of a pint in London. And that £6 does go towards us, the creators, but it goes back into our production as well. So if you do want any bonus stuff, if you want us to, you can even request reviews. You can request bespoke reviews from us. Just click the link in the description and go to the website, and any donation helps, really.
Maybe we could afford not to be using StreamYard.
Yeah,
In the future.
the more fans we get on board, the better our quality will become. I want to get to the point where, eventually we have a podcast studio. Whether or not that happens is your call. Yeah. So that was our Desert Island Discs. We will probably be doing this again for like Dalek episodes or Master episodes or Cyberman episodes.
Or Mara episodes, or Auton episodes, or Paul McGann episodes.
Without the Doctor. Paul McGann. Peter Cushing episode. Oh wait. Rowan Atkinson. Oh wait. Joe Martin episode. Oh wait. John Hurt
episode.
But yeah, so next time. I'm trying to end this, Sam. I'm tired.
I'm tired as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening. If you've been listening to us on whatever app you use, we're not going to say one because some people listen to their podcast differently. But if you've been watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Give us a like, give us a comment. Tell us what your favorite episodes are. We'll read them, but we may not respond. But it helps engagement and helps us. So
of course we respond.
Okay,
I'll respond.
Okay, Sam will respond to every single comment you leave under this video. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I will. As long as you're not a bot or them scam ones we get.
Yeah.
Saying if we want help with our views and social media and that.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, see you later. I'm done. Bye.
Yeah, see you for Earthshock next week.
Next time. Or space.